We're streaming now, whether you
And
like
they-
it or not.
And they said
I'm
it
a
couldn't
real
be done.
boy. I'm alive.
Well,
You're two-dimensional. I can poke you in the face.
Ow. God, stop it.
But a three-dimensional world, he's two-dimensional on a screen.
But I'm back. Thanks, Gary, for covering while I was out.
Yes, thank you again, Gary, for being here for us.
Did I jump on while
I'm so
you guys were
thankful
streaming?
We're done with him.
I think I did jump on while you were streaming for a little bit.
You were
You're
posting into the
chatting.
chat.
Yep.
You were that guy.
I was laid flat on my hotel bed while I was watching you guys.
Well,
Best way to watch
to
Topic is Trek.
Yeah, being ready to fall asleep is absolutely the best way to watch the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I tuned into a work live stream while they were streaming Tuesday morning. I was on St. Thomas. So I just jumped in long enough to go, greetings from St. Thomas, and left.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he really was that guy.
I was that guy.
Drive-by comment.
Well, it's especially funny when it's my own live streams that I'm doing this on. When you average 5 to 6 live streams a week, it's just kind of fun to take a week off and not do anything.
Sure.
Indeed.
All right.
I'm sharing.
Oh, I should probably sharing too.
Oh.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm gonna Sunny instead.
It works for church. I got someone from Wisconsin watching our church on Sunday. No, last night. It was one of our
ceremony instead. They watched the church. That's kind of boring.
It was one of our Lent services. Okay, am I me?
You know what?
No,
It's the funny thing about social media is I'm sure as you guys do, I have people from different phases of my life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's all together. It's kind of weird seeing some people from I knew from school in Texas talking with people I know here in Rock Hill or family or something.
Right. Or someone from service now interacting with someone I knew from high school going, this is a weird conversation. It would never happen in real life unless they were at my funeral.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah.
Funerals and weddings. That's the only thing that brings people together.
So enjoy it while you can watch it now. Because it'll happen and you'll be there, but you won't participate.
We're like the Brady Bunch. We're going to be forever young on the internet.
And be in little boxes. Hey, look.
Well, we can do that here. Hi, Clinton. Yeah. Hi, Craig.
Hey, kind of tight in here.
And Ann B. Davis as Tiger.
Wait, what? I think I missed a meeting.
Okay, I think we're ready to record. There's nobody watching our live stream right now anyway.
Hi, nobody.
I know, buddy. We're going to record anyway. Here, let's make sure that the most important button on the whole show works. There we go.
That's the stuff.
I apologize for my voice. I'm still suffering from a little bit of sore throat left over from the cruise.
Con crud.
Yeah, cruise crud.
All right.
The best of all worlds.
At least it's not con COVID crud.
No, it was not COVID. I tested also. I did that, what was it, Tuesday night? Took one of our home COVID tests and went swishy, swishy, swishy. And I went, oh, good. Well, it's not COVID, so I don't have to worry about telling everybody.
You see, now everybody's got those free tests. They're all going to be like sneeze and go, oh.
The proctored ones aren't free. But if you want to be certified to get on the ship, you got to pay whatever it was.
All right. Well, let us begin.
Yes, let us begin. Okay. Starting the audio recording in 3, 2, 1.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 110 for Friday, March 11th, 2022. Coming up in this episode, Pike hitches his horse to a wagon train to the stars. Sort of. Burnham has a close encounter. Picard finally gets that bloody nose. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. 3D holographic Wordle in space. I don't play it, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it sooner or later, because on this show, The topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrill-packed, excuse me, Chuck was just talking about how his throat was killing him. Mine is too, but I've got water with me, some H2O, so we'll take care of that. I'm Clinton, one of your co-hosts here on The Topic is Trek, and while I drink some water, of course, we have some other co-hosts to help me out. Beaming in to join me from parts unknown with the new catchphrase that all the kids are just talking about like crazy is Mr. Craig Stepp.
Suck it to me.
No.
I thought about it for a second. No.
Yeah, we got one for you on that one. It goes like this.
You do know where that's from, right?
I think that was his next catchphrase. That was just the
sad trombone.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Wow.
Come on, Clinton. You know where that one's from.
That's from Laughing, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
And also beaming in, he's back, and better than ever is Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
Happy Eradication Day, everyone.
Indeed. Same to you. I've got a lovely view here of Earth in the background here. Doesn't it look very, very congested and cloudy and mucky and everything?
The best galaxy is a human galaxy. We'll get to that in a little bit.
And so we're going to have a special episode about this, but very, very quickly, have a good time on the Trek cruise, Chuck?
Had a wonderful time. The guests were outstanding as usual. They were literally outstanding on the deck.
Yeah, right.
Good to see a lot of friends we made last time. Made a whole bunch of new friends this time. Tried some new experiences. Tried some old favorites. So there's CJ and I'll have lots of story in that if we can find a time to record that episode, a special just on Star Trek The Cruise 5. If you're interested in Star Trek The Cruise 6, I will say that bookings open on March 15th. So look for Star Trek The Cruise on the internet.
Well, we have a link to it in the show notes.
There we go. Even better.
I was like, and Chuck has a handy code or something to.
Yeah, for every person I get to book, I get $50 at the bar. I wish.
Yeah. So, did you have any run-ins with any Star Trek stars that we would know?
Yeah, we did.
We would know. Like we know.
I talked to Tim Ross at the end. There was like the final night of karaoke, and me and Big Kevin Spooner were the closers with Under Pressure from Freddie Mercury and David Bowie. And Anthony Montgomery was up on stage with that, and Connor Trenier. They were kind of doing that last karaoke party, and afterwards got to talk to Tim Russ for a little while. Spent a few minutes earlier in the week talking with Evan Evagora and Garrett Wong for a little while. Managed to stop him in the elevator and get a selfie and ask him how things were going. Ran into Max Grodenchik, but didn't want to disturb him.
Except for the people wanting selfies in the elevator. But
he upgraded his comedy act. He got the big theater this time, Craig, instead of the lower decks one. So
hey, what's wrong with lower decks?
Well, that's what it was. His Studio B was down in deck 3, but it was a lot of fun. CJ and I'll have more stories on that, and I'll be sure to include some pictures on Facebook now that we're back. I've got to sort through them all.
Alrighty, and before we get into our subspace chatter, I just want to mention quickly, again, we don't usually try to linger on this type of thing, but actress Lauren Goodwin passed away earlier this week, and she was the last living speaking credited role in the original pilot for Star Trek.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Can I offset the bad news with some good news?
You certainly can.
Dr. Erin McDonald got engaged on the cruise.
Ah.
So she and her fiance Erin are engaged to be married. Haven't heard anything about a date, but that was just kind of a fun buzz. Mary Chieffo was buzzing about it, and it kind of came up again and again. I mean, just Donna and I happened to get off the elevator right at the piano bar, right as Erin popped the question to Erin. And it was like, will you marry me? And the whole place just erupted. I'm like, wow, that couldn't have been timed any better for us.
I thought you were going to say, and you said, no, I'm already married. No, anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't ask if anybody has any objections. Oh, wait, that's at the ceremony. So we
Yeah.
still have time to call it
So
off.
we got plenty
Yeah.
of time for that.
That's
All right,
right.
but what we have to do next, we're obliged by law to do this, is we have
Well,
to get,
wow.
Yes,
have to-
it's in the Starfleet manual. Didn't you read it?
it's section 32, actually.
Oh.
Section
Section
31.
32.
It's right after
We-
section 31.
We
Yeah.
have to ask Charlie's permission because it's time for subspace chatter. So, Charlie, is it okay to do subspace chatter?
You don't need all that subspace chatter.
And yet we will do it anyway. Charlie.
My,
See,
oh my.
nothing changed while you were gone, Chuck.
No,
Nope.
apparently
Not at
not.
all.
But why don't you start us off with our first story?
You know, nobody did a cosplay as Charlie X on the ship. I'm kind of disappointed. We probably got pitched overboard, but we'll get to that.
Right.
With just 54 days until the premiere of Strange New Worlds on Paramount Plus, the streaming service has dropped the first official teaser trailer for the new Trek series. That's a lot of alliteration. The video begins with a bearded Christopher Pike, seemingly living a hermit's life somewhere in the western part of North America. But a mysterious voice is heard telling Pike, Luke, use the Force. No, it says, Chris, I need you back again, Captain. Could it be Commodore April making the plea? The mind boggles. From there, we get fleeting images of some of the strange new worlds the series will be exploring. That's a great name for the show, Strange New Worlds, and they're exploring. Wow.
Mhm.
We also catch a glimpse of a planet that is almost surely Vulcan. The voiceover provided by Rebecca Romaine speaks of the first visit from the stars always beginning as children's stories or science fiction tales until it becomes real. You can see the trailer by going to the show notes for episode 110 over at thetopicistrek.com. Of course, Strange New Worlds premieres on Paramount Plus on May 5th, and The Topic is Trek. We'll be ready to give you our take on the first new adventures of Pike's Enterprise in over 55 years. Welcome back, Captain.
Clinton, wouldn't you say that Chuck sounds a little like George Takei with
Oh
that grovelly
my.
voice?
Yeah, it is dropping down there.
Sorry, I was having
No, we almost
visions
be,
there.
we must all now talk like this when we do
Oh
the show.
my.
Oh my.
Yes. That's right.
So, Craig, why don't you go
So
next?
the first new adventures in over 55 years. I
Yes.
mean, they're not counting any adventure. Well, I guess that really wasn't an adventure on Discovery. They just sort of broke down.
Right. They just showed up and said, we got to haul it back to
Help.
dry dock.
Help and oh, by the way, I'm your new captain.
Although they were
Well-
they were in the battle at the end in the but I wouldn't consider that there. I would consider that more Discovery's adventure. They were just kind of along,
Yeah, they didn't spend a lot of time on the Enterprise, so it was more on Discovery. Yep. So anyway, I thought it looked interesting. Now speaking of looking interesting, we previously told you about the upcoming Star Wars video game,
Star
Trek.
Wars.
I'm
What?
sorry.
What, Craig?
What?
On this show,
What?
the topic is Trek.
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mute his microphone for the rest of the show.
you see one
Okay.
Ben Kenobi trailer and you go crazy.
I know. So we previously told you about the upcoming Star Trek video game, Star Trek Resurgence. But now we have seen a first few minutes of gameplay and can say it absolutely looks and feels like Trek. After all, what could be more Trek than 7 minutes of briefing by Ambassador Spock? So the game is set in the prime timeline in the year 2380, right after the events of the TNG films. Sadly, Leonard Nimoy is no longer with us, but the voice actor filling in the role does a very good job of reproducing Nimoy's unique tone. And
I
you can see
agree.
the seven,
I agree.
yeah, and you can see the 7-minute briefing scene by going to the show notes. Where? At the Topic is Trek, episode 110 at thetopicstrek.com.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Yeah, it happens to
Yeah.
everybody once in a while, Chuck.
Not
So you're-
me.
See your doctor. Yeah, we don't get anything other than a briefing, but to me that was just so Star Trek. It wasn't a space battle. It was Spock coming in, sitting down at a conference table and briefing people on the mission.
Yeah, here are these two planets. One has technology, one is the labor force. They're working on the mining dilithium from this moon. And the labor force is somehow in power. So it was fun to watch. I'd
Mhm.
like to see the rest. Gary has asked if Clinton will be playing this game.
I might, because it's got the bonus that it is not a multiplayer game, so I probably don't have to try to walk
Or
any place
roll around, do
and roll
some
around
forward rolls. Yeah.
Or try
there's-
to include others.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And apparently, it's going to have no microtransactions, and it's not going to have anything to do with NFTs or any of those type of things. It's just going to be a straight up game, and it's not going to be released in chapters. It's going to be released all at once. So
Nice.
since I can fail on my own in private many a time playing this game, that seems to be, and it's a lot of it is well, I shouldn't say a lot of it, but in the briefing, it's one of those we come up with a decision point where you have to
Right.
reply, and so you've got an A, a B, and possibly a C, and it should affect overall the outcome of the game. I'm not sure so much in the briefing, because you're probably going to get the same information no matter what you do.
Mhm.
I
for
am
that
not a
part of it.
diplomat, and it comes up with a totally different, unrelated answer.
Yeah. So, well, then leave, please. You're out.
Yeah. Game over.
I'm sorry, I don't speak English.
Well,
D. I'm clicking D.
Where's the NE key? Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll be talking more about Star Trek Picard Season 2 in our main mission, but we came across this article that may answer a question some of you have about the Borg Queen. As you know from the trailer for Picard, the Queen is back.
Yay.
We're not talking about Grudge. We're talking about the Borg Queen.
yeah. That'd be funny if they were one and the same.
Makes you
Yeah,
think,
a
doesn't it?
Borg cat. That'd be hysterical. You're
I could
crazy.
I could assimilate you, but I don't really care.
Man, that litter box is crazy.
But this time she's being played by Annie Wershing, and the Queen was originally played by Alice Krige in Star Trek First Contact, then by Susanna Thompson in the series finale of Voyager, and then Krige was returned to voice the character for the holodeck on Lower Decks. So, with all that history, is there just one Borg Queen, or are there several Borg Queens? Well, Miss Wershing is, as far as she's concerned, it's a little bit of both. She says that, in my opinion, she is a different incarnation of the Queen. My version is going to have all the information and all the memories that the other two queens have, but she has her own incarnation.
So it's a bit like the Doctor on Doctor Who. It's the same Doctor at the core. He just regenerates and has a different face.
Well, either it's a regeneration, or it's possible that there's more than one queen, but because it's a collective, the queens can kind of tell what the other.
They have their own collective.
Yeah, they kind of have a little
yeah,
coffee platch in there.
the Queen Network. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
You got to the secret
Right.
handshake to get in.
That's right.
Just wiggle your spinal column.
Yeah, if you don't have your hand, if you don't have your hand with you that day, it's always a problem. So,
Look, she's twerking.
oh,
Look.
left
The
my
Borg
body at home.
Queen spinal column twerk.
Why should I
There,
couldn't
that's
do a thing with it? Yeah.
Thanks for the visual. Can I go on with the next?
You
story?
certainly can,
Okay.
man.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, because if we're going to keep the Trek train rolling over on Paramount Plus, we need to know how things are coming along on season 5 of Star Trek Discovery. After all, season 4 is almost over.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a hooray?
Hooray.
Huzzah.
Yeah.
Talking to Twitter a few days ago, Disco executive producer and showrunner Michelle Paradise commented, the S5 writers, that's season 5, not like some new series like B5. Don't get excited, Gary.
D Space S5.
The S5 writers' room has been in full swing, with the creative team in Toronto now up and running, as well on designs, etc. Exciting for you to eventually see whatever we're working on. Sounded real good. Production on season 5 is expected to begin in June with a 2023 premiere date. Production also just wrapped. Get this. Production also just wrapped on the third and final season of Picard. And work continues on season 2 of Prodigy, season 3 and 4 of Lower Decks. I wasn't aware that production was happening on Picard right now, but that's pretty
I
crazy. How did
I knew
they get like Issa Briones and Evan Evagora and John Delancey on the cruise?
Oh, they must have been done with their
The
parts
filming?
of the filming.
The way it
well, we
looks like, we'll talk about this a little later, but the way it looks like from episode 1 to episode 2, Issa may not be on much of season 2.
Right. We'll definitely have a comment on that. But
well,
yeah,
we still haven't
tip-
seen Brent Spiner or anything like that. He's on it. Well,
Hmm.
I
Well,
know we'll talk about it later, but
talk about it
we did see that little virtual statue of him.
well, we also see him in some of the production photos that they've released
Yeah.
for it. So we know that he's, and I think he's in one of the, I think it's in the first trailer that they had for the first or the second trailer.
okay.
So,
I know his name. They said it in the show. You see it?
I like how they tried hiding. We'll get to this later, but I like how
Yeah,
they
did you
tried
see-
hiding John Delancey's name from the credits, even though everybody knew he was in the show. They saved it to the
Yeah.
very
Well-
end and said special guest star John Delancey.
Yeah. What did you see Brent Spiner's character's name?
No.
no, I
It's
don't.
like when they're showing the scene of the city in the water, there's like a statue
Oh,
it's like-
yes, yes.
and it said Adam
Adam.
Soon.
Yep.
Adam Soon.
Mystery
Okay.
solved.
Yeah.
All right. And our next story goes back to you, Craig.
All right. Phew. Finally, if you thought seeing Sir Patrick Stewart standing on top of Paramount Mountain, it gets cold up there,
It does.
being served drinks by Stephen Colbert, and what was the end of the campaign? Well, you better think again, young man.
Okay, I
woman.
will.
Paramount Plus just premiered another spot featuring actors and animated characters from The Good Fight, Transformers, The Neighborhood, Yellowstone, and more, including Number One and Spock.
No, I don't think they could get anybody from 1883 up there because they're all dead.
Well,
Well, and the wagons couldn't make it up the hill.
It's
Yeah.
not a. Oh, let's just talk to Pike then. He's got an extra horse.
Yeah.
but-
Time travel. So you can watch the spot by going to the show notes over at episode 110. Just like we said earlier, over at thetopicastrek.com. There you go.
Well, he's trying to
Now who's
trying to
rushing
catch you on
things?
that one.
Yes.
And in news from Vulcan, Alberta, Canada, because
Yes.
I apparently, the last episode we didn't have any news because I didn't find anything at all, and I sensed that my co-hosts for the evening were very disappointed. So I went and I found some news from Vulcan, Alberta, Canada. It's nothing to do with Star Trek, but I found out that the Canadian National Under 18 Hockey League,
Mhm.
which is also called the UH Hockey for short. It turns out that a combined Nanton and Vulcan U18 team has won a Central Alberta Hockey League banner.
There you go.
Hooray!
Yay.
The
And
squad,
there was much rejoicing. Yay,
Hooray.
yay.
the squad defeated Rocky Ford 2-9.
There you go.
So congratulations. The team was 9 Vulcan players and 8 Nanton players, and practices and games were shared between the two towns. Of course, it's a long distance to go from Nanton all the way to Vulcan and then back again, but they were really committed to it. So they,
Vulcans playing hockey reminds me of DS9 when they were playing baseball. So that's the
Yeah.
only vision I can't get out of my
Yeah.
mind is
And Nanton sounds like another planet nearby or something.
it could be, or it could just be we've anglicized the Niners or something. The Vulcans and the Niners.
Right.
but we know it's not a moon of Vulcan because Vulcan has no moons.
That's no moon.
And
Oh, wait. That's another Star Wars reference. Sorry.
yeah, I think no more trailers for you. Anyway, last time around, I failed to mention for the second time, so I want to make sure that I put it in here right now, that listener Diane let me know about an episode of NCIS. That's the
Mhm.
show starring Mark Harmon. I guess
Mhm.
this might be his last season because he wasn't in this particular episode, but it's an episode that aired about a month ago now at this point, called All Hands. And you can obviously stream it on Paramount Plus. And if you're listening to the show, my guess is you probably have Paramount Plus. The show features a lot of references to Star Trek. Now you find them
Okay.
at the beginning of the episode, and then we have the main story, but there is a payoff. So stick with it. at the end of the story. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because I forgot last time to do it. Now, I
Okay.
don't have a link to that story because you have to have Paramount Plus to do that. And it'd be unfair to link that. However, they have links to a bunch of other stories in here, and you can find them by going to the show notes for episode 110 over at thetopicstrek.com. We've got this time around, we have stories from about Discovery, Lower Decks. Lower Decks is going to have a game.
Sweet.
Picard, Strange New Worlds, obviously, the untitled Star Trek movie. We have a story about some books. We have stories about Mike Okuda and Denise Okuda winning an award or being given a Lifetime Achievement Award, I should say. They didn't win it. They earned that one, most certainly. Convention news, where I have links to, we talked about a link in here for the cruise, but we also have a link to Star Trek, well, not Star Trek Las Vegas. It's the 56-year mission because that's not official anymore. But the official one, Star Trek Mission Chicago, is also listed here. And then we have a story from the Actor Watch. So lots of links in there to 35 additional stories that you can peruse at your leisure until we're on again next time.
That's
There's a
right.
lot of sections in here, but no section 31.
No. There's an Article 31, but that's for Star Trek Mission
Article
Chicago.
31.
And with that said, it's time to come to our favorite part of the show for me. I love it so much. It's the time when I say goodbye, Charlie.
I want to stay.
Music to my ears. He's gone now, right? Okay.
Yes.
We can talk about him all we want to.
What?
Till next show.
No.
This episode, we have not one, not two, not three, but 4 different episodes of Star Trek to talk about. We're going
Yikes.
to break this into 2 parts. We're going to talk about the 2 episodes of Star Trek Discovery and then talk about the 2 episodes of Star Trek Picard.
Get out your notebooks.
So let us begin. Craig, can you give us the little background information on the Discovery episodes?
Sure. On both of them? All right.
Yeah.
So Star Trek Discovery Rosetta, written by Terry Hughes Burton and directed by Jeff Bird and Jen McGowan. So the synopsis is, while Captain Burnham leads an away mission to a planet that was once home to the aliens responsible for the DMA, Book and Tarka secretly infiltrate the USS Discovery. And moving right along to Star Trek Discovery, the next episode was Species 10C, written by Kyle Jarrow, and is directed by Olatunde Tsunami.
Ooh, right.
And
Close enough.
Huh?
Close enough.
That was good. That was good.
Yep.
Tsunami.
For Craig, that was A+.
All right.
We grade him on a curve.
Yeah, as the DMA approaches Earth and Navarre, Captain Burnham and the crew of the USS Discovery attempt to make first contact with powerful species responsible before it's too late.
Ooh, putting a bit of Kirk in there at the same time. It's a interesting twist to have there.
Are you mocking me?
No, absolutely not. I would never dream of doing anything like that. All right, so we're going to talk about, let's talk about first about Rosetta.
Okay.
And in that story, we have the A story of the away team traveling to this dead world to look for ways to communicate with the 10C. And there's some division amongst the delegates about whether or not this is really a good idea to take the time to do this mission. And Burnham seems insistent. She actually goes flat out and says she guarantees she'll come back with something. And I think you can even see the people, other people on the deck there kind of raising an eyebrow going, you're guaranteeing it? That's a lot of pressure.
Well, yeah. I also found her argument that she was adamant that if we go into this quote unquote diplomatic mission unprepared with no information, we're sure to fail. So I thought that was a pretty powerful statement as well. You never go to a negotiation or anything completely unprepared. And that's what she felt and said, we're going to find something down there.
Well, I think
Well,
my first question, though, is that it's based on the assumption that they actually lived there. And that's just an assumption because how do they know they really lived on that planet? We have the Dyson rings around the star, but what if they were put there after their planet blew up?
Did they ever
yeah.
explain what
Well,
a hyperfield was?
No.
Is it just like a super duper force field?
It's a field that's drank a lot of caffeine. It's a hyperfield.
Okay.
Well, you were
sounds
saying,
like an
Greg.
X Games or something. Anyway,
He just looked that up on.
yeah. So
uh,
when she was making the argument about going down to the planet, I was kind of confused as well because she said she kind of put that guarantee out there, but then she told the president, "No, I have no idea what we'll find down there." It's like, wow, was she bluffing or she just? I mean, not bluffing, I guess isn't right, but yeah, just trying to. I guess she was trying to exercise every option they had, which was this is probably the closest to any place that would have some evidence of what was going on. So, but it just sounded funny that she said, "I guarantee," and I have no idea what we're going to find here.
I think they needed that as well to drive a wedge or cause some division to kind of get Ndoye to splinter off and say, I'm not totally with this. Maybe Book's got a better idea.
Right, right. And on the planet, they encounter these large bones.
Bones, as in McCoy?
Yeah,
No,
that's where he's
No.
been this whole time.
no, not at all. That apparently would have been very flexible if they hadn't, been just these dried out bones.
I was very encouraged. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when Book and Tarka beamed aboard Discovery and they had to crouch down because they were inside a Jeffries tube,
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like the floor of the Jeffries tube finally got some padding to save your knees. Maybe that's available 900 years in the future.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like,
say.
yay, finally, someone wised up and said, we can do better with these
it's
Jeffries
like
tubes.
50 years ago, somebody went, you know what? Maybe we should just put padding in here.
It's
Yeah.
programmable padding, is what it is.
We're crawling around on our knees, and by gosh, we either got to get the actors knee pads or put some padding on the floor.
All right, but
That's
let's hop back to the main story here. Where
Okay.
we've got this mission down to the planet. So they go down to the planet. Another thing that strikes me is that on the way down, they discover that there's a structure. I think it's when they're on the shuttle down that there's a structure that's intact. I don't think that happened.
But before they went down, though, Saru mentioned he felt death coming.
Right. But on the way down, they're saying that the impact craters on the planet, which apparently what happened, several asteroids hit a gas giant and burned off all the gas. And
Right.
what was left was the planet, which to me, first of all, I said, I don't think there's necessarily a solid sphere at the bottom of a gas giant. It's usually something that's liquefied. But
Sometimes there are.
take that as it may,
Okay. Yep.
he's able to deduce how long ago that happened,
Mhm.
and he equates it to when the hypersphere was constructed. And I'm thinking, when did we find out when the hypersphere was constructed?
Carbon dating.
Yeah. We scanned it.
It was, it's like the sidewalk out on my front yard. It has a stamp in it that says, General Construction 1984.
Yeah,
Work
or the
Progress
manhole covers in my
Administration
neighborhood
will-
have the year on it.
They looked at the last stamp on the sidewalk on the planet, and they looked at the stamp on the side of the hypersphere, and they went, hey, that's pretty darn close.
I see last inspection date on this one, and first inspection date on that one. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Makes
They
sense.
scan the
lined
QR
up.
code.
At one point, somebody pulled up one of those keyboards in the air,
Yes.
and I noticed it was a QWERTY layout, or pretty
Yes.
darn close. I'm like,
Yes.
what? How is that
Yes.
still a thing?
Oh, we're hopping around again here. Okay,
I
so
know.
let's stick to the planet for.
Are we still on the planet? Okay.
Well, we're down to the planet, and we get this dust that Saru just
Mm.
kind of decides he's going to walk through with his hooves, as one does if one's a
Panic
champion.
dust.
Yeah, he suddenly just goes into panic mode. And are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Well, okay. First of all, he's not fine, and you don't want to have someone in your team that you're depending on saying they're fine when they're clearly far from it.
But they
That's
always do
right.
that. That's the plot of every good, show that has an away mission like this.
Yeah, you don't
And
want everybody to be responsible.
so then we end up with Culber infected, and then we end up with Burnham infected as well because Saru doesn't say anything when this thing happens. I thought that was convenient to move that part of the plot forward, but also you have to have trust that the people on your team are going to tell you if something's wrong. And Discovery's actually been fairly good about that a lot of times. You think it's going to be a secret that somebody's keeping, but they just say what's going on. And they don't keep it a secret. This seemed weird for Saru to just suddenly go, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. No problem at all. As he goes, things are screaming in his, his visor at him.
Yeah. That I did think that was strange that he immediately, because he's like, I sense death, and the next thing you know, he's like freaking out. So why wouldn't he be a little more cautious about himself?
Now, they also said that the reason that this happened to them is that their environmental suits filter out all, harmful things, but that this dust was not in the database. And that raised another flag for me too, going, okay, so if poison gas wasn't in the database, we'd be dead. I would think
pretty much.
I would, I had trouble with that one going,
Yeah.
you always go to places where you have no idea what things are.
That's how you get them added to the database. You got to have a red shirt die.
Oh, I see. Well,
That's what the red shirts are for.
Right. You never knew that? They have a
knew-
purpose.
Well,
Okay.
I was also thinking about that too. I was like, well, shouldn't the suits just give you what you need rather than just, oh, well, we'll let this pass, and come in because it's not in the database.
Right. It's a foreign object that's attempting to get into the suit.
Yeah, you think you block everything except for what you need. I'm sorry, the other way around. Block everything. Only provide you what you need is what I meant to say.
Right. No, I agree. So a lot of twisting and turning, I think, in this episode to kind of make things work the way they wanted them to work.
Right.
It just seemed a little obvious. We then get to the nursery, and I was thinking to myself, didn't we already have sort of a ship like this? Now the creatures were alive in this one in stasis.
The Nostromo?
No. Earlier in the season.
Oh, I was going off of Aliens.
No,
The one with that Burnham and
right with the Quat
Tilly
Malat.
were on. Yeah,
Right.
they saved the
And
race.
the realization is that so these are actually, they're in stasis, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking we just, at the same season, we have 2 episodes where this is the reveal about what this thing is that's here. It just seemed odd again. It
could happen. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it certainly could happen, but it does. Should
Well,
it
it
be
did.
happening 2 times in an episode of a show?
Yeah.
Well,
In real
you know,
life,
if
I'm
you-
sure it could happen.
if you ask for somebody to give you random numbers between 1 and 0 and 9, the number 3 could come up 5
Well,
times
this-
in a row.
This was like having a random number between 0 and 1, and zeros were out, as one of the options. I don't know,
Actually, until you brought that up, I actually forgot about that whole part of the season.
Yeah,
I
because
was
the
like,
season
oh yeah,
just is kind of dragging on.
I was like, oh wait, that did happen this season. I was,
So, Anyway, in
yeah.
the nursery, they discovered the love dust. Everything is nice and
Yes.
calm and serene.
chicka
And-
wow,
oh, by the
wow.
way, Detmer didn't get infected.
right, because she was over there somewhere doing her own
Yeah.
thing.
That's right.
I
But
did
they
say
all-
hello to Emily Coots on the ship anyway. So
Very
nice,
good.
nice young lady.
We find out that there are 16 different versions of these type of dust.
What they call them?
emotional triggers.
Hydrocarbon
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pheromone things.
So they have a database now of 16 of these things that they, one's happy, one's sad, one's anxious, one's frightened, one's this, one's that, one's the other thing. And that's what they went down there to find. So that's validation for Burnham's hypothesis that this was their homeworld. To me, I didn't have a problem with once they got there that they find this. It's just the certainty with which they went, assuming that this is where they lived. Not even, well, we think maybe we're kind of taking a chance that, I
Yeah.
guarantee we're going to
Well,
come back
of
with
course
something.
they knew it was going to happen. They read it at the table read a couple
Right.
weeks before they filmed it.
Right.
All right,
We
but then-
didn't.
But then we have our B story, which is a Book and Tarka planning to attach Book ship to Discovery and, do a Millennium Falcon into the hyperfield.
Yeah.
I think we should refer to them as Dumb and Dumber. 'Cause-
I feel like we should refer to them as Book and the person that keeps talking Book back into the game.
Yeah, Persuader. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, when we get to the current episode, I was yelling at the screen. You idiot! You
Yeah.
idiot!
But Book
Anyway.
is the one who took Jet hostage.
No, Tarka took.
Oh, that was Tarka?
Yeah,
oh,
that was
okay.
Tarka.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Tarka
Yeah,
goes,
you're right. You're right.
Because Tarka goes into engineering to plant the patch, which is
Yep.
conveniently the only thing you've ever needed to get onto Discovery to do. You can disable Zora and all this other stuff from outside, but you got to plant the patch. And it's not software, it's an actual physical patch that they have to supply. And Reno happens to come back and spot Tarka doing this. Like, I hope this is some kind of surprise party. Well, the surprise was that she gets taken hostage by Tarka.
Well, wait a minute. You're skipping over one big detail in this show.
The bananas and the
Yes, the steam bananas.
the steam bananas and the replicators. What I was skipping over was the fact that the replicators make it sound like a microwave finishing up what it's doing.
Ding.
Name ding. But really?
Hey, by the way,
In 1,000 years, that's what we get.
That's now a microwave bell or a replicator complete bell.
But what was funny is they kind of said that line, or she said that line, or he said that line about the steam banana. I went, wait. Did they just say that? What I think they said, and then I had to rewind it and listen to it again.
Yes, I think then Reno's line is everything in that sentence was just bad news.
Yes.
I know. So all the things Tarka could do with the replicator, steamed bananas would not be the first thing that would come to mind.
Well, hey, Linus would. I don't know why he doesn't love those. He's reptilian.
That's true. That's true.
We did have a good discussion between Jet and Linus, and we also had another good discussion with Adira and Jet. Which I thought
Yeah.
was nice. Because Adira said, "I want to be like Michael Burnham," and she said, "No, you be you." And
Yeah.
she says, "But Michael's never, she's unflappable." And she goes, "Yeah, she is. She just hides it better."
No, Detmer. She wasn't talking about Burnham. She's talking about Detmer.
Detmer. Yeah.
Was she? Because
Yeah.
Adira
she admired her.
That's
Well,
why she
Adira
said-
and
that's why she
Detmer
said-
had a
That's why she said "fly good," and she felt so awkward about saying it because she was like she admires Detmer, and she was like,
okay. I thought she was admire. Yeah, because later
Yeah, she had that.
she and
tried to
Detmer
have
had
that
a
conversation.
bonding moment
Right.
too. Okay,
Yeah, they
Right.
tried to have that conversation, and which was a little awkward right at first, but yeah.
right.
Gotcha.
Which it kind of, to me, that's another thing that felt like, oh, let's have some more filler right now, very late in the season about suddenly this is going to happen.
Yeah.
This
This was a 6 episode season if I've ever seen it.
yes,
absolutely,
maybe
absolutely.
even 5.
And then we have our C stories, or that that Book makes an arrangement with the general and Doya to basically rat out the mission. So
A
that-
mole. She's a mole.
yeah, so that they can fire the weapon, or somehow they can't fire the weapon. They don't have the weapon anymore, but they can disable the power source. And but she insisted it's only a
If
backup
diplomacy
plan.
fails. Yeah.
And of course, Book says no problem, and everybody is screaming at their TV going, "Book, it doesn't matter what you think. Remember the other time?
Yeah.
Remember the other time?"
Right.
Fool me 7 or more times, shame on me.
I mean,
That's about right.
Tarka fired the quantum torpedoes, fired the isolinic weapon. Just all against what Book was asking him to do. So why suddenly does he think this is going to work?
Speaking of that, he keeps saying, asking how Michael's doing and how, like he hopes that's going to work after all this. I don't know. I have my doubts about their relationship after this.
Well, he's got a new way of dealing with it now. He just creepily listens on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always worked out for people.
He was on the other
Yeah.
side of the wall, but he said it was good seeing her again. Like, did you see her?
Well, he has that thing that can look through the walls, remember? So who knows?
Creepy.
A little creepy there, being a little creepy.
Hmm.
All right, I think that's the main A story, B story, and a bunch of the C stories. Oh, we also have the president talking to Dr. Hirai about his bedside manner while
Yeah.
he's playing 3D crossword puzzles.
We need
Which
we need to be on the same team here.
Which was fun is we called that guy's personality out in the last episode, and then the president did as well on this one.
It was also interesting that he's playing a 3D crossword puzzle with the hints of things like, quantum and megahertz and all this kind of stuff. And somehow this other word creeps in, obligation. What kind of crossword is this? It has nothing to do with anything else on that crossword puzzle.
There's no theme whatsoever.
Well, there was a theme. It was all text stuff except obligation.
And trees. I'm kidding about the trees.
I don't know. Very strange. But all
Yeah.
right, let's move on to the second part of it, which is the 10C. So I know, Chuck, you've got a lot of notes in here.
Finally, we get
Let's
to
just take some point on the 10C, because this is the point when we finally get to see Richard Dreyfuss climbing up the side of Devil's Tower.
Actually, I had so many Close Encounter vibes. It's ridiculous watching this. Hey, repeat the lights.
They're flashing lights at us. Repeat the lights then.
Yeah. Did nobody watch that during movie night on the ship? Come on.
Yeah, Zora should have played that instead of the Buster Keaton stuff. That would have helped him out a whole lot.
Yeah. Who's this Dreyfuss fellow?
Yeah. I really liked the concept when I saw it in, Arrival, that you need to figure out how to communicate
Right.
to a completely alien species. And in that movie, they slowly have to develop the understanding of this is the language, and this is the this, and this is the that.
I mean, it wouldn't have been any fun if they just walked up and go, hello, and the universal translator kicks in and goes, hey, guys, what's happening?
No, but you're going down that road, and it's almost like that part of the story, which is very, very Star Trek and very, very specific and very, you want to get to that, played second fiddle to 3 episodes of the stuff that came these past 3 episodes. It's like, what? This should be like the main thing. Communicating with with an extra galactic entity. Really, that's a first contact. Like we have.
You're doing math to contact to talk to aliens. I mean, how much more Star Trek can you get?
I thought they arrived. I know this was another Detmer miraculous moment, which was not impossible to believe, but she came up with a couple of winners in the last couple of episodes. But I thought they arrived at that conclusion of, oh, we've got these hydrocarbon molecules and we got this flashing light pattern. What if the flashing light pattern is in 3D? Let's overlay that, because it's like, what? Where did you come up with that, woman?
The same calculation that told Saru that the hyperfield was 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a special algorithm that they just pull out every once in a while. Yeah, I didn't mind having the other members of the crew there to discuss it. I think that was great to have.
It might have made more sense if Hirai had come up with that. Wasn't he the xenolinguistic guy?
Yeah, he's standing off to the side, like watching all this stuff in awe. Like, I can't ever think of how to communicate with different things. That's amazing what you guys can just come up with on your. Yeah.
What do you say you do here again?
Yeah.
Crossword puzzles.
But if he'd really had to work really hard to make that happen, I could see that as an entire episode. You try, it fails. You're running out of time. You're trying again. You get a bad reaction to it. You go, well, let's not do that again. And slowly you get to this point, but they did it in like 10 minutes tops.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
episode.
Oh,
And
I'm
some-
sorry. I got to jump back to the last episode real quick. Did you catch Morn at the bar?
I did not.
Yeah, there was a Lorian at the bar.
Ooh. He's always at the bar, so I guess
That's
we
right.
shouldn't- We
It was
should
perfect.
Oh, we have seen one this episode earlier on.
Yeah, in the season,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, in the season. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So back to figuring things out. The dots get deployed and they get sucked up by the monster from the deep. No, not
Abyss.
the deep.
No, from the abyss.
The abyss. The
Yes.
abyss. The water monster from the abyss. And then the whole ship gets sucked in by the water monster from the abyss. Like, well, that was interesting.
Well, they're obviously very powerful. I mean, because of the amount of energy they're expending to destroy everything, or mine, I guess is the word. So I wasn't surprised. Actually, I thought it was pretty impressive that thing went and just took the ship in. No problem.
Well, then they thought, let's give them some boromite. Where did they get boromite? Isn't it supposed to be like extremely rare and you have to destroy an entire planet to get a gram?
Well, Reno was working on an omega particle experiment that she thought, what could go wrong? So they said, no, we need that for something else.
That's right.
They took that away from her.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the upshot of this episode is the upshot of pretty much every episode for the past several. You get to a point where things are going to be fine, and then Tarka steps
And
in.
then Tarka steps in. Yeah. Somebody just shoot
Yeah.
that man. The season would be over faster.
Well, Book tried, to be on in all honesty.
He did. Well, somebody says you had a comment of something that Book said in this episode that was having you screaming at the screen, Craig.
Oh, well, yeah. What was I saying? I said,
Was it when Reno was talking to him and she said,
"Oh my
he's
God, my mom went
gonna get
blank on that."
The
I'm trying to
story
remember
about the story about the child.
What?
That's okay. That's
Hey,
okay.
It was a fleeting thought.
Was
but
it the,
yeah,
was it the story about when he was telling about I'm the fifth Cleveland Booker thing? Or
no,
Yeah, I'm the
it-
Dread Pirate Robert. So there you go.
no. Oh well, I guess really what I was getting frustrated with was Tarka kept trying to push Book to keep forward, and I was getting frustrated. Like, Book, why are you listening to this guy? You know, he's
You've
not.
been asking that for like 5 episodes at this point.
Yeah. So I can't remember specifically what I was talking about. I'll have to go back and listen. But yeah, I was getting frustrated. I was like, he's not doing the right thing. He's on his own for sure. He's not trying to do anything but his own agenda.
just
Right.
beam
And
him
even
into
Janet Reno,
space.
Reno
Janet
saw
Reno.
No, she was not in this episode.
that. No, Jet Reno saw it on his face when he like put the formula down and kind of made this head
Yeah.
jerk like he was frustrated. I was like, man, this is not going to end well. And of course, everybody's getting so close. They're starting to talk to the 10C, and I'm like, it's just a moment, and then Tarka's gonna throw it all in the wash.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
I think next time I'm stressed out, I'm just gonna yell. Although Saru's got an awesome yell.
Yeah, that was a very odd moment as well. This primal scream therapy session that they just like, well, let's go off right now in the middle of all this, all this
Stressful
drama and
moment.
everything.
There's only a
And-
few hours before Navarre and Earth are destroyed by the DMA.
Well,
Let's go
all right.
shout.
setting aside, I was gonna say real quick, setting aside the story for just a second. That I did like that moment when they were yelling at each other and they had a moment between themselves. I liked it, but yeah, you're right. It was like, okay, you did this now.
Yeah, the timing out it's timing a lot of stuff going on. It was just kind of like, well, we need to stretch it for a couple more seconds. Let's have suddenly, Adira Tall wanting to be Myra Detmer, and let's have them go off and do Primal Scream or something. But
Mhm.
I have a question that I couldn't work out the answer to. Now, when they first get briefed by Admiral Vance as they're going through the galactic barrier that the DMA has moved and is now in the Alpha Quadrant, he says that debris from the shock wave, from the gravitational wave
Mhm.
will begin to hit Earth in 71 hours. And now we're at 29 hours. All right. The debris is not traveling faster than light, I assume. So how close does the DMA have to be to Earth for debris to hit it in 71 hours?
And how are you gonna stop even if they remove the DMA, how does that
Right.
stop the debris?
Right. And it takes us 3 days to get to the moon. How fast is this debris moving that the DMA is not like in the orbit of Mars? I
Yeah,
couldn't figure that out. It's like
because they were down to. Did they say they were down to 4 hours
they were down. Well,
One
yeah,
point-
they started off
at
one of
one
the
point?
episodes at 29, and now they were like down to next to nothing at that point.
Yeah.
It was as close as the whale probe from Star Trek 4 movie.
So I don't know. I feel like the season is just falling apart the further we get into it. It's just
Yeah,
becoming
there's like moments that are interesting to see, but yeah, it's all kind of scattered.
I wanna know, they keep showing these transporters instantly, people pop into the scene, and they're right next to the people they need to be next to, and they're facing the right direction. I was like, how do these new transporters do that?
Well, not only that, the fact that they have the shuttle to go off on the mission down to the dead planet, it's not even on the ground on the deck of Discovery. It's hovering, so of course they have to transport into it.
Yeah. Oh wait,
Why?
I'm late. Hey, they're taking off. I'm late. Actually, I thought about that today because the one officer popped in and gave Saru here's a gift from
Right.
Stamets, and I was thinking, you know what? They're liberally using this thing around the ship now, and then I thought, what happens when they pop into a room and there's a couple trying to be intimate or something? You got to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Linus, out of here.
This is not the galley.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to rate these because we have 2 more episodes to talk about. So
Yeah.
let's get to this quickly. I'll start off. I'm going to rate them both at the same time to save some time. Let's see. I'm going to give Rosetta.
So you're gonna mess up Diane, by the way.
I know. Sorry. Well, I'm going to do each one, but I'm just going to do both of mine.
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm going to do Rosetta. I'm going to give that one a 5.
Mhm.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to give the 10C. I'm going to give that a 5 as well. I feel like I give it a 5 because I think the visuals were stunning, and I think there's some fun stuff in it. I think there's some interesting interplay. But as far as the main story goes and how this thing has been paced, I'm just so frustrated at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go to Chuck next.
I'm gonna go a little higher. I'll give them a 6 because I still have faith in the show. I like you're right. It's off the rails and scratching the head at times, but I think there's still an underlying story in here that's holding it afloat. Barely, but it's holding it afloat.
Okay. And what about you, Craig?
Well, I am totally in the same boat with you guys, and I'm going to give them both a 6 as well. I
All
mean,
right.
there's some things I like. There's nothing like watching a bunch of people standing around doing math.
There's- oh, it was cool when Tilly was doing it.
Hey.
Yeah, that's
Something I did notice real quick was, and I saw this on Picard. It has nothing to do with the story, where they show all the characters are lined up, right? They're all in a row, several times actually, facing something. They're all shoulder to shoulder. Well, in Discovery, they did it again. They're in the bay, walking towards the main door, and they're all in a row, almost like a right stuff kind of thing. I'm like,
Oh, we had
How
a
many times
slow
you got-
mo at the beginning
Yeah.
of Rosetta too.
doing the slow walk.
yeah, why don't? Does everybody have to walk in a line?
Yes. Yes, they do.
I feel sorry for the person coming at him from the other direction in the corridor. It's like, make room, please.
They're like the people on the sidewalk that all take up all the way across and you
Yes.
can't get around them without going into the street. That's who those people are.
Right.
All right. Let's move on then, shall we?
Yes.
To
Shall we?
Picard, season 2, premiere of Picard.
Oh, I got to see this on board the ship Thursday.
Yes, I was going to say it must have been
Evan
Exciting.
and Issa did the intro for this. They gave her like this little 10-minute thing, and then the theater
Cool.
goes dark. Sound was great, video was great, and when Issa appeared on the screen, the crowd erupted. When Evan appeared on the screen, the crowd erupted. When John Delancey appeared on the screen, the crowd erupted.
Mhm.
Even when Whoopi appeared, she wasn't even on the cruise, and they kind of gave out a nice cheer for her as well. So everybody was very enthusiastic about this. I for whatever reason, I was not able to fully process that episode on board the ship. Maybe because it was late, maybe because there was alcohol involved. But I did watch this a second time when I got home. Hey, going
Right.
right past that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was worth watching twice just to catch
Mhm.
some of the little things in there.
Right.
So
I've watched it twice as well myself.
we have a new storyline. We have a synthetic Picard. And, it starts out, it takes a left turn at the end of the episode, of course. You think it's going to be about Picard and Laris and their relationship and how he's afraid to get close to people.
Wait, we're gonna read the synopsis?
We're going to read the synopsis? Sure. Who's reading
we
the
did a-
synopsis?
We did. Did we have the?
All right. We jumped ahead. Star Trek Picard. The first episode is called The Stargazer, written by Akiva Goldsman and Terry Matalas, and directed by Doug Erniakowski. Close enough.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
You'll have
Yeah,
to
we
say it
gotta
again
get-
because he directed the second one too.
It's the directors and the writers that kill us every time. Okay, they need better names. Starfleet must once again call on legendary Jean-Luc Picard after members of his former crew, Cristobal Rios, 7 of 9, Rafi Mussaker, and Dr. Agnes Girardi discover an anomaly. It's always an anomaly in space that threatens the galaxy. Although this one's more of a giveaway because it's a green tear in space.
Yeah. All
And
right,
the
you read
second
the
one?
next one too?
Sure. Second episode is called Penance, teleplay by Akiva Goldsman, Terry Matalas, and Christopher Monfett. I hope that's close enough. The story is by Michael Chabon, Akiva Goldsman, Terry Matalas, and Christopher Monfett, directed again by Doug, whose name I can't pronounce very well. Picard
That's his
finds
name.
himself
There's a lot of names in directors and stuff where they double
Arniakowski. We're
double
gonna go
over
with Arniakowski.
Yeah.
Close enough. I got a number of letters at least that time. Picard finds himself transported to an alternate timeline in the year 2400, where his longtime nemesis Q has orchestrated one final trial. Picard searches for his trusted crew as he attempts to find the cause of his dystopian future.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. So let's talk first about the Stargazer, which to me, there was definitely a theme going here, and the theme being of breakdown of relationships.
Yeah, they started out with that very powerful scene, which is
Well,
from the end of the show. And we're like,
yeah.
wait, what? Wait, where he gave a destruct code, and we don't even get
Oh,
a
yeah.
good visual of who's on board the ship right away to understand why did he fire off the destruct code. So it was very dramatic, action-filled opening sequence to that
Right.
show.
Which I kind of find those things a cheat because it's like, oh, we're gonna hook you in with something. We're not going to tell you what it is for
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't
2
even
days
bother.
earlier.
Right, that's what I was saying. It's like, you missed something here. 24 hours earlier.
3 weeks
Mm,
ago.
last Friday.
Or you do it in SpongeBob style. 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we find out that Picard is back on Earth again, which was kind of an interesting revelation to begin with. That okay, he was with that adventure, and
hmm
he's now working at Starfleet, and Rios is off on a ship, and
Actually, I thought it was funny. Everybody he dealt with or was hanging out with, not dealt with, but hanging out with in the last season, all of them have something to do with Starfleet now.
We got a new starting to the show too. So new
Yes,
music, new
they-
starting, and the graphics are tied in with the storyline. So
yeah,
just
they
you
ramped
gotta
up
watch
the
closely.
I noticed that they did the Deep Space Nine a couple of seasons in of, except that to the extreme. In Deep Space Nine, after a couple of seasons, you ended up with this dum 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 in the background. The music was the
Oh, yeah.
same, but they had this underlying fast rhythm to make it seem like it was faster.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
This one, they just went in and said, "No, I want it faster." Louder and faster.
There was still the
Yeah.
underlying theme with
Yep.
the pipe, penny whistle or whatever you call it. So it was
I actually liked
and
it.
yeah, I did too. I did too. And you find it I found myself watching it very closely for clues of what's coming up.
Right. I
Mhm.
think
Although in the first episode you have no freaking context for any of this, but as
Yeah.
you watch each one, you go, "Aha, that's what that was."
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that I believe Lower Decks, we don't know about Strange New Worlds yet, but Lower Decks is the only one at this point that doesn't have opening graphics that tie in with the story, right? We've got Prodigy's like that because all the constellations and
Yeah.
so forth are all the characters. Discovery changes theirs up all the
Right,
time. So you have
right.
different comm badges, chairs, the guns, book
Mhm.
ship is in. And then Picard last season was really about his, shattering that had to do with the Borg and, trying to pull himself together. Now we've got imagery that's from season 2, completely different. So it's interesting to take that direction, and that Lower Decks just uses the exact same opening season after season. The only thing is we just add more ships to the battle with the Borg.
Pretty soon it's gonna be Wolf 359. Yeah,
We
it's a bunch of stuff.
did see someone on the cruise dressed up as Wolf 359. He had this wolf's head on, and his T-shirt simply said 359.
There
So
you
that was
go.
very clever.
Wow, that's pretty good.
All right. So Picard apparently has some intimacy issues that we find
Mhm.
out because Laris, after the off-screen death of Shaban, is
Which actually I went, wait a minute, wait a minute. I had to go, when did he die? And I was like, I don't remember that last season. I had to go look, and yeah, it was off camera.
Romulans love very deeply,
well,
and
I
then
have a
they love very deeply again.
no, they
He's like,
more deeply.
"Oh
Oh
my."
my. And so she makes a
Wow,
pass.
chicka
She
wow
says,
wow.
she says, when I first came to work here, I saw you as a man who chose the stars. And after all this time, I've come to wonder, have you been seeking or running?
Mhm.
So she kind of calls him out
Yep.
on all this stuff, and he avoids it again. He
Well, and
doesn't
then
talk about it.
Guinan calls him out on it again. "The only place you're afraid to explore is right there," and he points to his chest.
In which he used to have an artificial heart, now it's an
Yeah.
artificial everything. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we get this indication that it is tied into what happened to him as a child there at the chateau involving
Mhm.
his mother, because that's
Yeah, they
we
have a
see
little
these flashbacks to
flashback,
that.
yeah. "We could paint the glass, Jean-Luc, and we can" yeah.
And we specifically hear her say in the flashback where we have the quick cuts, "Come find me." So
Well, there's
we
also
pay a lot
something
of it. Well,
violent happens. There's a
right.
flashback within the flashback. You're going, "Wait,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
something"
In that flashback, in that part where you're getting all those quick cuts of her
Yeah,
talking to Jean-Luc, and there's a door, and she's on the floor being dragged away. She says, "Come find me." And we're paying a lot of attention to the look up Jean-Luc because that
Yes.
plays off later.
right.
But I was taken by the "come find me" like she's someplace that he needs to go to look for her. I mean, it's like that leapt out
Right,
at me.
and then at towards the end of the episode, not to spoil it or anything, but as one of the last words you hear from the Borg Queen is, "Look up." Like,
Yeah.
"Wait, is his mom now the Borg Queen? That would
Well,
be
you
a fun storyline."
yeah, you even saw his face. He was like, "What?"
But
Yeah.
you
Right,
really don't
because
see the Borg Queen's face at all. She's kind
you
of in
don't,
this
yeah, you
venom
don't,
mask, if
you
you will.
literally don't see it, and it's behind these things with gears. And I noticed gears are one of the things that are in the imagery at the beginning opening credits. You have meshing gears, and when they show a close up of this Borg Queen, there's all these little moving pieces
Steampunk Borg.
moving underneath the
Well, even when
like
she
a
gets
grill.
she beams herself aboard, and Girardi goes, "Well, that's new."
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a
Yeah.
second that's new later on for something else too.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot of new things going on in here. Yeah, they definitely have been kind of going the direction this time of, no, we got to make this, we got to amp things up
When
this
we
time around.
meet Seven again in this new season, she's fighting off some pirates on board her ship. They
Mhm.
catch the pirates, they hog tie them, and they put them on a transporter pad. Where do they beam them?
Out into space, but they just want to be neat
Yeah.
about it.
I think they beamed him back on their own ship.
No, that could
Tied
be. That
up.
could be. That
I
could
thought
be.
that's what I assumed. They tied him up and sent him back to their own ship.
There's all kinds of little Easter eggs in this one. I felt like I was watching Lower Decks for a second because Soji mentions Delton folk songs. It's like we don't
Right. Well,
hear
she's
from the
on Delta.
Deltons,
Well, she's
right?
on
We don't
Delta. So
we don't hear from them too much.
well, we
they
haven't
were
heard
in-
from them since the motion picture.
exactly. I go, whoa,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
we're really digging deep into the archives for this show.
But in the on the La Serena, which now Seven has because Rios
Yep.
has gone back to Starfleet, she has kept she's merged all of the hologram assistants into Emmett, and apparently he has parts of all the others in him because after they've gotten rid of these bad guys, he starts to analyze why she wants to be alone and how, she doesn't want to be around humans because they're going to judge her.
Yeah.
And somehow these implants have stunted her developmental, her intimacy, growth. And she says, I wish there was a way to just turn that part of you off. And he said, I'm not going to never tell you how to do that.
Right.
So that's another case of we're getting another indication of a broken connection, something has gone wrong in a relationship and she's just now off by herself. And Raffi kind of verifies that she's off doing her own thing and I'm here and she's off saving people and doing goody two shoes stuff. And what kind of a blank do I have to be to think I'm more important than that?
What'd you think of the drunk Agnes scene?
It was interesting. She performed rather well her duties, even though she obviously had a little bit too much to drink on Ryza.
Yep.
Of course, she also was able to articulate to the Ryza, I don't know, Ryza to the Delton, her entire history of the past 2 years in like 15 seconds.
I've never had a
TMI.
meaningful relationship that lasted more than 1 year.
I was acquitted of killing my
last boyfriend or whatever.
Okay,
I
does
thought that
this
was
mean
pretty
you
fun.
want to drink or don't?
I thought we
TMI.
were going to see that guy again somewhere, but I also noticed the Stargazer, the new Stargazer,
Mhm.
Yes.
USS. It was 82893.
Yes, there's one more digit than the old.
It has one more digit. So why didn't they put an A, B, C, or D on there like they do with a lot of other ships that are renamed? Why wasn't it 2893A or J or whatever?
I don't know if they always do that. I guess that's the question because there was
They
certainly
did for Voyager in Discovery.
they did, and they did that for the Enterprise.
They
But
did that for the Enterprise.
when you retire a ship and you put a new one into service, you don't necessarily tack that onto it.
Does it have to be blown up to get a letter designation? I'm wondering what the ruling is
blow
here.
up.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning is behind it. I got something to investigate about what determines that, because like they're creating a new I think they're doing a new Enterprise aircraft carrier, but it's just going to be the Enterprise. It's not going to be the Enterprise A or something like that. Nuclear aircraft
But
carrier.
the Enterprise aircraft carrier has a designation.
Yeah, they got a numeric
It's
designation.
I wish I could remember what it is. I can see it in my mind.
Right, but the designation is not, but the number is not where the A is on the Enterprise. It's
right.
NCC 1701 Enterprise-A. So you would have to have
Isn't there an Enterprise in San Diego Harbor with 41 on it? No, that's the Midway. I'm sorry, the Midway.
This episode of The Topic is
It's
naval
It's
ships.
brought to you
all
by-
over the place. It's all over the place.
All right, but
Naval ships and where they belong.
so for some reason, Picard feels compelled to go speak
See, Guinan.
to Guinan, even though she can't really get through to him to have him tell her what the problem is. What is it's like he's wanting to make this right, but he still can't bring himself to say what this thing is, because she outright asks him, what is the problem? And he kind of opens his mouth and then closes it and shakes his head saying, I can't
Well,
say.
obviously, I think it has something to do well, we saw with the trauma from his mother somehow. Something happened, and maybe it's caused him to have some intimacy issues because he didn't want to get close to somebody because they're going to get ripped away. And we
I
even saw that
noticed
on the
what
ship. We even saw that on TNG. Remember, he
yeah.
didn't really hang out with everybody until the very end when he played poker with them.
Well, he did have that moment with Vosh, but that kind of
Yeah.
didn't work out. I noticed when he first beamed to go see Guinan, the camera spent an extra long time showing us the sign Howard Avenue Historic District.
No. It's not Howard. It's Forward Avenue. She's at 10
Oh, she's at
Forward
10
Avenue.
Okay, I didn't read that right up. Thank you. That makes a whole lot more sense now.
10 Howard.
Oh, that's why I'm like, what's so special about the Howard Historic District? Okay.
It's like a Star Trek ripoff. We're in 10 Howard. Hey, let's go get a drink.
She says, what did she say? Top shelf or hooch?
Yes.
Now, at one point, she offers Saurian brandy. Have we ever met the Saurians?
Good question.
Or do we just hear about their brandy all the time? Is it just like legendary drink?
They're too busy brewing.
That's right.
They're
If you
distilling.
met them, they weren't making their hooch.
I mean, clearly, Romulans have Romulan ale. The Cardassians have their Canar. I always have to say Damar first. It's Damar drinking Canar. So, but have we met the Saurians yet? And why not?
I think the only picture of one I see was like a video game or something. So maybe not. I don't know.
And probably on the deck scene in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, where there's all those aliens that are just in the background someplace. So
Yeah. So there you go.
They were on the journey to Babel.
There you go. They do have one on Star Trek Online. He's like a purple head with no ears or anything. So it's kind of awesome.
Does he have a little barrel around him? Just in case he's like emergency play, like Saint Bernard.
Were you picking up any Nexus vibes between Guinan and Picard when they were talking in the bar?
Well, she outright said that they'd been to alternate universes before,
right,
or something like that.
We've crossed universes together.
But that also refers to something that is called out by name in the next episode when Q says how very yesterday's Enterprise.
Very yesterday's Enterprise. I thought that was brilliant.
He was dropping a couple of or several episode titles.
Yep. So I think that's one of the things there's a couple of cases where they've been other places than where they, would normally be, in other universes, other realities. Also, going back in time, in Time's Arrow.
Yep.
When one of the many times you find Data's head someplace,
Yeah. That's right.
That would have been a good cosplay. Somebody walking around with Data's head.
So that this all culminates after Picard says, "Hey, Elnor, good job being a cadet here at Starfleet Academy. Now leave."
Here's a book from Spock.
Yeah, it's a hardcover book from Spock. How nice.
Be sure to exit through the gift shop.
There's a test on this book later.
So one thing that struck me is that Elnor is the odd man out when we're talking about these shattered relationships, right? Because you've got Lursa and Picard, you've got Rafi.
Not Lursa.
Laris.
Klingon lady.
Laris. Sorry.
Wow, Lursa and Picard. I'd love to see that sometime.
Well, maybe the fanfic that happens. Who knows? But you've got Rafi and Seven. You've got Girardi and Rios.
And Elnor and Picard, remember they've kind of patched things up, but
Elnor was kind of the odd man out anyway, because he was raised by the Order, the Quat Malat. So I mean,
he had a father-ish kind of relationship with Picard.
He did.
Picard just did not come back after.
He was kind of the missing uncle. I didn't really think of him as a father figure for Elnor.
Oh, really? I thought so.
By the way. Evan Evagora is taller than he looks. He's like 6'1".
He looks tall. I didn't think he looked short. I think he looks very tall.
I was trying to put it when he's on screen. It's like, okay, how tall is Patrick Stewart? And he kind of throws that off. And you never know if actors are wearing heels when you don't see them on screen.
And video makes people look taller. Look at me.
Yeah.
Come on, stand up and take a look. Let's take a look at you. I am standing up. Anyway,
I am standing.
Okay. Anyway, where were we?
So we'll cut to the chase here. That
There you go. I'm growing as we speak.
we 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 go down to the basement.
Yeah.
Wait till his voice changes.
We
Right.
we get this message that comes through this rift, this green glow, very specific green colored
Yes.
rift.
Help us,
What could that
Picard.
mean?
And the voices overlapping have a certain sound to them that are calling up Picard's name.
Yeah.
No flashing, nothing's going off in Picard's head, nothing's going off in Seven's head when she sees that green glow.
Yeah.
So everybody decides we're just going to go there, and Picard's going to say, "Hey, I'm here. What do you want? What's
Help
up?"
me, Spock. Help me, Spock. Great. Now try it as Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that works out well because a Borg Queen beams in through the shields and all the protection and starts hacking in to the Enterprise. I'm sorry, not to the Enterprise, to the Stargazer.
To the
Right.
Cerritos.
And does the same thing everybody does when they hack in. Immediately, she has access to all the systems,
And
all
changes the
information.
command codes.
Just
and
from
then
the
branches out and takes control of the rest of the fleet.
Yeah.
Why didn't they
Just-
listen to Seven and just blast her right from the get-go?
wow, the navigation up front has all the you can run the whole ship off of it.
Yeah, I
They
think we've talked
really
about this
need to
before
work
on
on
the
their
show.
security.
Either work with the security, just say, look, don't break our stuff. We have a nice file folder here with all the information you need so that
Yeah.
you can just take that and
Yeah.
go.
Here's a 3-ring binder with all the passwords.
It's fleet strength, and it's the position of where everything is and who you need to take out first. It's right. It's all right here.
Page 6 is all Earth's defenses codes. So
It's lovely. It's got
Yeah.
a little PowerPoint in it if you want to get into that sort of
And
thing as well.
exit through the gift shop.
the PowerPoint.
But
That's what we ought to have on the next cruise, Craig, as our cosplay. A 3-ring binder with all the Starfleet command codes in it.
well, speaking of command codes, apparently
Right.
we haven't updated the command code to destroy the ship since Kirk, because Picard uses the exact same code. that
Was it
Kirk
the
did.
exact same code? I
Yeah.
thought he said it was
0,
000.
0, 0, 0, destruct 0.
I thought it sounded familiar at first.
That
Yep.
is the exact same one that also
But they had
Kirk
to. You
has to have 3 people do it.
right. Well, they had to put in their codes first.
Which
Code
were-
1,
yeah.
1A, 2.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe because it's an admiral, it's like, well, if you're an admiral, you don't need 2 people.
You can
to
just
do
bypass
it.
them.
Yeah,
I need your
that's fine.
confirmation. I
Yeah,
confirm
that's
myself.
a good fail safe right there.
Yeah, I confirm myself.
Yeah.
That's right.
I trust me. How about me? Yeah, me too. There you go.
We don't need 2 keys to launch this nuke.
And a bit of a surprise, although we've seen this before in Star Trek The Next Generation, the ship blows up. Not before we get this reveal, however, that as it's about to blow up, the countdown finishes. The Queen says to Picard,
Look up.
look up. Yes.
Oh my God.
She has a little echo chamber in there. The mask is really close to her, but she puts it away.
I am your father.
It's the
Oh.
Guardian of Forever all of a sudden going on. Here.
We're split back into Star Wars again.
All right, so everything blows up. End of story. And it was just one episode, but it was a short season. No wonder they were on to season 3. No, Picard wakes up, but things are not right anymore.
He's in his busted out greenhouse again.
Yeah. He's changed to wearing black from the black he's been wearing so far in this
And
series.
his comm badge is about 3 his comm badge grew 3 sizes that night, like
He-
the Grinch's heart.
Because he believed. But yeah, he's now got a synthetic attendant. He's got Romulan slaves. He's got a portrait of himself, that's all in a very mirror universe and disco mirror universe inspired type of uniform going on there.
And then Q shows up
Looking like old Q.
for a
second.
while. Yeah, computer generated
I
DH.
thought they did a good job.
They
there
did a
for
pretty good job. Yeah.
Well, it helps that he's very stationary and it's a very short bit,
Yep.
so you can spend a lot of time on
Yes.
that one. As opposed to Guinan's explanation of why she's older, because her
She
species
chooses.
ages older, but only if they choose to ages slowly, but only if they choose to. They can,
Well,
I guess, speed
What does
that up.
that mean? I thought about that. I was like, what does she go? Okay, I'm gonna go over. and
then
just
Q
let
Q
her
says,
body go.
"The trial never ends."
Mm.
And welcome to the very end of the road not taken. And then, of course, we can easily transition to the next episode.
Right. So in our next episode,
Penance.
we find out that this is not an alternate reality. Well, we don't find that out just yet. We kind of know what Q is saying, but it takes a while, Picard a while to figure it out. But Q is very, very abrupt with Picard. They are yelling at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I mentioned the bullet point up front of the bloody nose, because if you recall,
He smacked him good.
Q said in Q Who that, if you don't want to get your nose bloodied, don't come out here. And all of a sudden, Q is the one who gives him a bloody nose in this thing.
Let's get this over with now.
But just
Yeah.
whacking him across the face. And Picard had already thought that Q was not himself. And I think this didn't do anything to dissuade him from that idea that he wasn't himself. But he shows Picard the hell that they're living in. He takes him to the trophy room.
Good
Chateau
stuff in
Picard.
the trophy room. Meet Gul Dukat. Meet Martok. Meet Sarek. And then he says, you're a conqueror. Did you notice those little hexagons in the sky when they showed a shot of the sky?
Well, he
Yeah.
talked about the fact that he said that in your original time, they did everything they could to
Save the
protect
planet.
it. And he says, and this one is kind of just on life support.
Right. Did you also notice that the scale of those little hexagons changed? When they showed it from space, it took like 1.5 to cover all of France. When they show it from the ground, you can see about 40 in the sky.
I think it was moving because he said that it's protecting the Earth.
Yeah, but
The
scale is-
environment, trying to keep the atmosphere in there.
If something is hundreds of miles across, you're not going to see multiples of them in the sky
Unless it's
from the
Starlink.
ground.
That's
From
what
the ground. Anyway,
All right.
getting on with
Let's
that.
Let's talk
Harvey
about
the
his-
valet,
Wait a minute, whoa. Let's talk about the throne room some more.
Yes.
Because
the trophy
he
room.
mentioned he said Gal Dukat, and he said
Yeah.
he's the reason you have your synthetic body. I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out that, but I
There's a
have a feeling
story.
because he had that transformation Gal Dukat did to make himself
Into-
look human.
Oh, yeah. But
Or,
I mean,
that was just
more,
surgical.
that was
Bajoran,
just
excuse me.
surgery. So my guess is that somehow the Cardassians were doing research that somehow
Cybernetic research.
involved this, and
Yeah.
so when they conquered the planet that he took that with him.
Yep.
What I didn't know is that, boy, green goes real deep in a Vulcan. I didn't even notice, but Sarek's skull was green.
Oh yeah.
Thinking, wow, that's okay. I didn't really think about that.
I would have walked
copper
up
in
to
his blood.
Sarek's skull and go, "Sorry, old friend."
Yeah. Hey,
So
we did see
his-
we did see
ship was called the CSS World Raiser. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then Harvey hands him, he goes, "Here's your usual drink." He goes, "What is this?" He goes,
Colombian.
"Colombian roast,
Yeah.
black."
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm still in the throne or the
Yep.
the
Okay.
trophy room.
Yep.
So there we did see the torchbearer armor, the Klingon armor.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that.
Now, is that the room where we also see the Grand Negus's staff? I think is in
And his
there.
head, or
And
one
his
of the
head.
Ferengi's heads.
Yeah, it's definitely a Ferengi head. There, you can
Yeah.
see the cartilage in the ears.
Yeah, it was.
Never
Wow.
mind that.
Yeah, Martok. Yeah, we saw Martok. Of course, weapons all over the place.
Right.
A
from
Borg
all
head.
sorts of eras.
We saw a Borg
Right. Yep. One of them was a Borg.
mortified
Yep.
skull. Trying to think, what else did we see in there?
I did
was
not
a-
hit pause on that scene, but I'll trust you. on
Well,
that.
I saw the armor, and I remember going, "Why does that look familiar?" Oh, yeah, that's the torchbearer armor from the Discovery,
Gotcha.
the
So,
Klingon.
alluding to playing off of what you said about Colombian roast black, that's when Picard leans back in his chair and goes, "This really is the circle Dante overlooked."
Yes. I knew there had to be a literary reference in that show somewhere. That was brilliant. And just so I can put it on the Technorama calendar, What day is exactly Eradication Day?
Well, I guess it would be today
Today,
because
the day that aired, the
yeah,
day the show aired?
yeah.
Okay, so henceforth,
Be careful how you
March
celebrate that one. Celebrate
March
responsibly.
10th will be known as Eradication Day. Well, you could go after, call the exterminator and get the pests eradicated or
Well, we
something,
got First Contact Day coming up right after it too.
which
Yeah.
is,
So
fitting
the
tribute.
the mirror universe first contact fits right in with Eradication Day. I think.
hmm
They also mentioned a General Cisco on here. I was hoping we'd get to see Avery, but not so.
Right, because after we find out that Picard is now this butcher, we find out that Annika
Yeah,
is
they're all waking up to a new reality too, and some of them fit in better than others, let's just say, or adapted quickly and recognized, "Hey, I better play along until I figure out what's going on."
hmm
yeah, Annika kind of got it really quickly, and I think the audience is kind of clued in as well because this person comes in is referring to her as dear, and she's is that just like a nickname? And then she goes into the office and she sees the wedding photo
Yeah.
and then also her being sworn in. And she's going, okay, 1 and 1 equals 2. And immediately turns to look at the desk and start going through as much information as she can, as quickly as she can, because she
Yeah.
realizes
Good for
immediately
her.
she has to bluff.
Yep.
And it comes through over. She says, I want a representative of the Federation. You go, Federation?
I mean, the Confederation.
Confederation.
Sorry, you're just tired.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just tired.
Yeah, I think we all pegged at the beginning that her husband, the magistrate, was going to be the person who would catch on or somehow because he's
Yeah,
everything's going on. He gives this look like,
he had about 5 of those. That's weird moments, kind of like something's not right. He had about 5 of those till
yeah,
he went,
oh,
wait a minute, I'm on to you.
you can leave the president
Hey.
with this prisoner Romulan. Oh, you can leave us over here. Oh, let me tell you the story. And then Girardi goes off on her wild
Yeah,
story about
drinking
things.
game. Yeah, why do you call her 7? Oh,
7 shots.
7 shots. Hanukkah. That's a
Actually,
little drinking buddy.
yeah, I like that. All the characters were staring at her like,
She
wow,
she
okay.
didn't quite adapt as easily as the others. Uh,
No.
But
my
she had a
big
cat.
question is,
She had a cat.
Spot 73, was it?
Yeah, voiced
Uh,
by no mistaking. That was definitely Patton Oswalt. No mistake.
I thought
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes, that was.
Yeah.
I'm also curious why Elnor and Rafi, they were not on the Stargazer. The others were.
Uh,
They were
in
on
the
the
confab
Excelsior.
that was there. Yeah, they were all at the confab at the riff.
yeah, but you can make the argument that so were a lot of other people. They
Right.
weren't even on the
Mhm.
same ship.
That
So
one left me scratching my head going, "Okay, I understand they're part of the show, but how does
Well,
that
Q
tie?"
knew that they were together, so
yeah, he's they're our 1
Pretty
plus and
thin
our 2
there.
plus. For the
Yeah.
mission.
see, it'd been funny if Q took just some random bridge officers off, and he's like,
Who are you? What's this? I don't understand
We
anything
need
that's
some
going on.
red shirts to get killed.
yeah,
We need a
I
few
would love
extras.
to see. That's the point where you need to have live action Boimler show up and going, "What is all this? I don't understand any of it."
yeah.
Just screams the entire season.
Live action Boimler. Good call. Now I want to see that, but I don't think it's going to happen. We do have a new Borg Queen or an old Borg Queen, however you want to look at that.
Mhm.
So
Yes, which you could tell right away she knew what was going on because she called not only Picard by his name,
but 7.
but 7, the specific designation that she had
Yes.
in the collective. So that thing they both realized right away is like, I think she knows what's going on here.
Yeah, and the others
Yeah,
just write
she's
her off
also
as
a
being
little-
crazy.
Yeah, she's also kind of removed a little bit, but I mean, Q's. Well, she said that she sees all the different time and
Yeah, which I thought was
So-
interesting is that she sees, well, maybe it's because she said she was calculating because she calculated that it took place in 2024
in
in
on Earth,
Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles.
And I'm thinking, well, why didn't you ask her what the thing was? But if she said she was calculating, then she's calculating back how much drift you'd have to have in this to make this happen or something. I'm not
Do you
quite sure.
trust her? They need her to do the calculations. Yeah, okay,
Do you trust
we
the
know
Borg Queen? Is that's an
we
interesting
know
question.
we have to do some time travel. So Picard rattles off a few different ones, and this is funny because Dr. Erin McDonald also did this on board the ship. She said, "Here's a whole bunch of shows that involve time travel. Let's find out if any of them are plausible." And slingshotting around a star was like one of the weaker ones. I
Right.
thought it kind of humorous that that's the one they picked. It's like,
Well, especially
oh, we're
the
gonna
reason
save
it's
the
one of the
whales.
weakest ones is because you don't have a Spock or a Borg Queen, apparently.
Yeah,
Because
well,
the good idea is to let's take the Borg Queen with us. What could possibly go wrong?
yeah.
That's kind of the book Tarka moment. It's like, well, no,
Oh, yeah.
stop. What are you doing? I
Yeah.
mean, but that, I mean,
But they kind of needed
Yeah.
needed some of the information she's got. So I get it. And she doesn't want to be the last of the Borg to go, to go away. So any chance that she can to get to stick around.
so she's
it-
the last of
yeah.
the Borg, and Picard is the last Picard.
Because a safe galaxy is a human galaxy. Just had to say
Absolutely.
that somewhere.
There's a lot of life forms
So
to
Pic-
make that kind of bold statement.
Picard also picks up on the fact that Q is somewhat unstable, rattled, like
Yeah, that's what I
maybe
said.
dying. Something's up with Q that
Well,
we don't know yet.
Yeah, I feel like this episode, an underlying theme, the last episode was about broken connections and things falling apart. This one definitely had a feeling of death and dying to it. I mean, even down to, as we talked about, the Earth kind of being on, Q says it's on life support. Like everything has just become this mess. And apparently, now they're assuming that it's something that Q did to make this happen. And we're going under that assumption as well. But I'm not sure because that almost seems like not his mode. That's not what he
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
does.
Mhm.
And I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. So I'm not convinced that Q really was responsible for this happening. It may be out of Q's control, which is why he is so upset because it's affecting him as well. Whatever happened.
Could be. Maybe he's trying to get them to fix something that happened to him.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you
true.
make of the comment that the Borg Queen made? Seek out the Watcher.
Yeah, that I don't know. Is that another person that's
Is that somebody they need to meet up with in LA in 2024?
Well,
well,
that's what I gathered. Yeah.
yeah,
I want to see another punk rocker on the bus. That's all I want to see.
you may, because apparently there's nods to a couple of different movies in here.
He was in Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It would be interesting if the Watcher, in theory, the Watcher could be Guinan, because Guinan has that same ability to sense that it's off when they're in those alternate realities. That
Mhm.
both in yesterday's Enterprise and in Generation, she said this isn't right. Something is weird here.
What if they go back to 2024 and they see one of us?
You don't have to worry. We're not in 2024 yet.
I know.
They're going to
That's-
get to 2024 and go, good thing we missed that COVID thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They go back in time and they're talking to one of us. What? That'd be.
It's a very personal episode.
I did like the way that Patrick Stewart put on the grumpy face when he had to be, General
Yeah.
Picard, and he was about to execute the Borg Queen. He's like, shaking his fist and rallying up the crowd and whatnot.
Yeah,
Like,
I felt I was going, what's his end game here? Because he's carrying through with this. And at a certain point, you're going to be okay. You have to kill her or not,
No, he
Well-
knew they were stalling because they needed Girardi to
right?
like-
But I mean, he got to that point going, okay, I'm gonna like go through with this,
And then I'm gonna say it out loud.
now.
Yeah.
7. We may need to fight our way out of here.
Wait, let's do a countdown.
That was
Yeah.
subtle.
Come on, everybody.
30. 29.
Let's do the Confederation cheer. Come on.
And Rafi's trying to, take down the shields, and Elnor's getting his face beat in, and he goes, Elnor, they're all yours. And you see him spring to action and take 3 people out.
Well,
that was fun.
He slits their throat. I mean,
one guy throws a ninja star. He ducks out of the way right into the chest of the guy who's behind Elnor, rips it out of his chest and throws it. It's like, wow, that was a good scene. So
Actually,
that's the kind of stuff that Evan said. I like those scenes.
Yeah. When they slit the guy's throat, I was like, wow, that's a little rough for Star Trek. I mean, they usually don't show that.
I think that's his training. That's what he was doing.
Well, he was doing that with the sword play, I guess, before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember? Yeah, he decapitated a guy in his opening fight scene.
That's when he said to improvise. It's like, I know this isn't training, but it's like, I improvise based on what is going on here.
True. Oh,
remember when Q would really only screw up one episode? Now he screwed up a whole season.
And I didn't see the mariachi band either. Come on.
No, sorry. Yeah. He didn't dress up in a uniform.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So and we're left with the closing scene with the what was his name? The Confederate magistrate saying, Jean-Luc Picard, traitor, killed while rescuing a Borg. So
cliffhanger. Wasn't expecting as dramatic a cliffhanger. I guess because of last season kind of moving at a much slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
This was very ramped up. They're going to make it off the planet, and you go, oh, they didn't make it. How about that?
Yeah, I thought they were going to make it.
Yeah,
you have that last
usually on Star Trek, within the last 6 minutes, they kind of wrap up everything really quick. We're on the ship. We're okay. Let's out of here. And
like a crime scene show.
That's right.
So I'm assuming that pretty soon we will get to Los Angeles. And I think that will be interesting because both The Voyage Home and Picard Season 2 are set in California, but 2 different California cities. Are we going to have callbacks? Like, does the La Serena have cloaking so they can be in like MacArthur Park and say, okay, everybody remember where we parked?
Oh, please don't do that.
Double dumbass on you.
Yeah. If you crush a trash can when you land a cloak ship, I'm done. We don't need too many references back to Star Trek 4.
Well, I don't think that his ship though has cloaking capability.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So we won't see that. Or will we?
Maybe. All right. I think we need to keep moving.
Well, that's the problem of having 4 episodes.
It's a long show tonight. You can watch this one or listen to this one in parts, people.
All right, so let's do a wrap up. We'll go in reverse order to rate these 2 episodes.
Craig first.
I'm gonna say I like this. So far, I like this. I think more than I did the first season. So, I'm gonna give the Stargazer an 8. And I'm giving Penance an 8.5.
Okay. All right. And how about you, Chuck?
You stole my numbers.
By the way, those are Qs, by the way. 8 and 8.5 Qs.
8.5 Qs. Oh, we don't need we don't need more than one. Thank you.
The half referred to the Borg because she was only half a Borg at the end.
Yeah. That's right.
So yeah, same numbers. I liked them very well. Thought it was a lot of action, but yet you're left with some of those Easter eggs like, well, what does that mean? Or when are we going to see this? Or how's that going to resolve? Good cliffhanger on both of them. And then, we'll find out what happens in another week.
Yeah, Quentin? I agree. I think that I'm going to give Stargazer because there was a lot of heavy lifting with exposition about what happened to this character, what happened to that character, a little bit lower than I'm going to give that one like a 7.5. And I'm going to give Penance, I think I'm going to go with an 8.5 on that as well. I think that it led in from the first episode very well. It had a lot to do as well, but I think the pacing was really good on it. Mm-hmm. And we've maybe it's because of watching so many episodes of Discovery at the moment where it's like nothing happens for an episode. This is like, no, everything goes down, and this is just episode 2 of 10.
Yeah, this
I
is
just
like
hope
a
they don't have.
die-hard movie at this point.
I hope they don't have a lot of filler episodes in Picard after this because I'm enjoying it so far.
Right. So hopefully we will stay. All right. So those are our ratings on it. If you, dear listener, have any rating of your own you'd like to give it, please, you can leave us a note over on our Facebook page at The Topic is Trek over on Facebook. Really quickly now, in a Warp Speed Roundtable, just want to ask a simple question. Now, we know the next season of Picard is going to be the last season of Picard.
Another show with only 3 seasons.
So my question is, given the characters that we have seen in season 1 and season 2, and it doesn't have to be a serious answer, but just kind of what spin-off show from Picard would you like to see on Paramount Plus after Picard is done?
Elnor.
Elnor. Okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No, stop that already. You've been through that already.
It's a spinoff. It's coming up.
Yeah, that's a heck of a spinoff. Someone
Well,
forgot to tighten your lug nuts. It's so bad of a spinoff.
Right. I want to see that Worf show. I want to see Worf.
But I mean, like with the characters we've seen on Picard.
Yeah.
Oh, of them.
Stay on track
yeah,
here, buddy.
yeah.
I would like to see. I think they were going to do it, and maybe they canceled it. But I wanted to see the Starfleet Rangers. You know where?
The Fenris Rangers?
I'm sorry. Yes, I want to see that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be much
more.
more.
That could be gritty. I could see that.
Yeah. I'm going to be much more pragmatic and realistic about the expectations of what type of shows we would actually see. So I'm going to say that the first show I'd like to see is Girardi and Spot 72 have their own show. Meow. We want to have that. After all, the cat is her best friend. Meow.
She's sitting there pawing at the screen.
And then the low hanging fruit here, the thing that obviously want to see is a spinoff show. Annika 7 Shots Hansen. I mean, we want to see that, like what is all that about?
That's right. Just a drinking game show.
I think there's more story to be told around Rafi too.
Yes. I know there was a book that was, it's available as an audio book. It's like a little audio play. Actually, yes. I have downloaded it. I haven't listened to it yet. No Man's Land, which is a Rafi and Seven story. So I think that would be a great thing to have afterwards.
It's actually a prequel to this, isn't it? At the Picard season 2.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, so I downloaded it. Haven't listened to it yet. As they say.
That's my understanding. I haven't listened to anything either. So
TLDR.
Yes.
Well, they were in a relationship together. No Man's Land. It makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Well,
all right. So that's our opinions. What's yours, dear listener? We want to know. Go over to our Facebook page and let us know when Picard is finished. What spinoff show would you like to see? You never know. It worked for Strange New Worlds.
It did indeed.
R2D2, maybe.
We really need to do some work on your reprogramming.
Oh, wait, there is a droid show. We won't talk about that.
All right. Well, it's time to refill the dilithium chamber, not a crystal, the lithium chamber, and warp on out of here. You can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram and MeWe and Twitter and your glasses. I'm that part where you can't get that part off your glasses, that little smudge. That's yeah. I'm there as well.
Oh,
all right.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah. And who speaks for you guys?
I was off. You were off last week, Chuck. So
I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, you can find us by searching for Technorama Podcast anywhere on the net, on the internet. Technorama, TECHNORAMA. If that's not too obvious enough, you'll ultimately end up at chuckchat.com/Technorama for the podcast, the video feed. We do our shows live on StreamYard on Sunday nights, or you can listen to the podcast on Wednesdays. There's all kinds of fun and goodness to be had there in a slightly shorter format than we did this show tonight.
Yeah.
I kind of expect Chuck to spin some like alt rock or something. And now here we go. Hour number 2.
Yeah.
Thank you for your donations. If you donate more than $20 to our Patreon fund, you'll get the tote bag.
Come on, say it. Paging Mr. Herman, Mr. Pee Wee Herman. Come on, say it.
Paging Mr. Herman. I think our video froze on Facebook, or we forgot to deposit another 25 cents.
Oh, well, you do what you do. All right, it's time to hit the theme, boys.
All right. I have one job here. Let's see if we can get it this time.
If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter at The Topic is Trek, visit our Facebook page, or visit thetopicistrek.com. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't
put on
the
the
red
red shirt.
shirt. I'm wearing a lovely shade of blue.
Audio is stopped. There was a picture on the Star Trek Cruise page today. It had a picture of Robert O'Reilly dressed up as Gowron with those eyes, and it says, the look on your face when you realize you just shouted "Kapla" in a meeting at work.
Yeah.
Like, somebody was always shouting that all week. You'd be walking down the promenade and here's this innocent looking group of people having their drinks, and all 8 of them go "Kapla" for everyone who walks by.
That's funny.
We've been programmed.
Indeed. All right. So yeah, so in 2 weeks for the regular show, we've got 3 episodes.
Only 3. It's like a light week.
Then we get back to 2 episodes for a while until Strange New Worlds premieres, and then we have a crossover there with 3 episodes.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it crossing over else? Wow.
I think its debut is the same night as
May 5th.
the ending of Picard.
Okay.
Mr. Herman.
Mr. Pee Wee Herman. Oh, okay.
You have a phone call at the front desk.
All right.
Someone just strangled Flipper.
All right. 2 weeks would be March 24th.
Ooh, hey, by the way, sure. I think that's fine. By the way, you should go see Doug Drexler's Facebook page. He's posted some awesome pictures of looks like the Stargazer. Let me see. Somebody posted some
World
pictures
Razor.
Yeah, the Stargazer. Wow. This is a panoramic of the bridge. That is pretty awesome.
I expect to see, like in next year's cruise museum, the painting of the World Razor.
So apparently I think it's in the it's the briefing room or the ready room on the Stargazer. There's also a illustration of the Stargazer as it would appear in TOS era. So it's got nacelles like you would see.
Round? Were they round?
Yeah.
Oops, we forgot to stop the stream. Goodbye, everybody. Bonus material there.